It's 1:30 local time on the 12th of November 2025. High above the Pacific near Guam, U.S. early warning satellite spots 16 heat signatures rising over the horizon. Inside Andersen Air Force Base, alarms tear through the night. Airmen sprint across the tarmac as alert crews scramble to launch. Far to the northwest, dark shapes at 42,000 feet push toward Guam, China's H-20 bombers. Flying tight and steady, each assumed to carry hypersonic YJ-21 missiles, the base has minutes, maybe less, before a possible first strike. In orbit, Spur's satellites feed real-time tracks to Indo-Pacific Command, confirming the formation's speed and heading. 200 miles north, 8 F-22 Raptors wait in silence with LPI radar, adjusting course as controllers whisper updates. 16 bombers and 8 stealth fighters now rush toward each other in darkness, and the opening move of the fight is only seconds away. In the waters and skies around Guam, the quiet routine of patrols hides a simple truth. This island is the backbone of America's reach across the Pacific. Cargo aircraft, fuel lines, submarines, and bombers all move through this hub, keeping U.S. forces supplied across thousands of miles. That's why tonight matters. 16 H-20 bombers flying in tight formation aren't just another radar return. They're a direct challenge aimed at the center of U.S. power projection. If they get close enough to launch even a small wave of YJ-21, they can hit runways, fuel depots, and command nodes in minutes. For the crews on the ground, the stakes are personal. Families live just outside the base. Kids are sleeping in base housing while alarms echo across the island. If a strike lands, homes and schools sit inside the danger zone. For Washington, the consequences ripple outward. If Guam falters or suffers heavy damage, allies from Japan to Australia will question whether the U.S. can still protect the region under pressure. Shipping insurers monitor every alert, knowing a single hit could raise global costs and disrupt supply lines far from the Pacific. Tonight's objective is unforgiving. Stop the incoming bombers before they reach launch range. There is no margin once they cross that line. If even one YJ-21 gets off the rails, the impact will be felt across the region and inside every operations center watching this unfold. As both sides close the distance, China pressing forward, the U.S. preparing to intercept the tension climbs. Strategy, training, and nerve collide in the dark. If you were staring at the same screen as the commanders, watching 16 bombers and 8 F-22 seconds rush toward each other, who would you bet on? Comment 1 if the U.S. holds the line, or 9 if China breaks through. 151. The first hard confirmation hits the operations center. The H-20 formation is now inside the outer detection ring. Their altitude is steady, their speed increasing, and their heading unchanged. They're committed. No more probing, no more uncertainty. This is the opening move. 200 miles north of Guam, the 8 F-22 Raptors tighten their formation as the commander receives the final vector. The jets slide into a silent intercept path, using their APG-77 radars in LPI mode, quiet, narrow beams that let them see without being easily seen. Every second of stealth buys them a better angle for the first strike. The goal is simple. Hit the bombers before the bombers can scatter. 157. The Raptors descend slightly, dropping below the H-20 radar horizon. The lead pilot gives the order for the first volley. AMRAAM-D, long-range intercept, ripple fire. The missiles streak off the rails with almost no flash, climbing fast toward the upper sky. 48. AIM-120D. In 2 waves, enough to overwhelm defenses and take half the formation out in the first minute if the tracking holds. The H-20 react instantly. Their formation begins to spread as onboard systems detect the incoming threat. Countermeasure pods pulse to life, throwing out deceptive signatures across the spectrum. The bombers jinx slightly, but with aircraft their size, their options are limited. They can't outrun the AMRAAMs. All they can do is survive long enough to reach launch distance. 2-5. The first missiles hit. Explosions blossom across the thin air at 42,000 feet. 4 H-20 vanish in seconds. 2 more shudder, break apart, and fall from the sky. The Raptors' targeting feeds light up with confirmed kills, 6 down, 10 still pressing forward. Then the second wave lands. 8 more impacts, each one a flash in the dark. The bombers' formation collapses into fragments. Pilots still alive push their throttles to the limit, trying to break contact, but the F-22 are already closing in. At this point, the fight shifts from long-range precision to mid-range pressure, and the remaining bombers are running out of sky, time, and options. The intercept has begun, and the air over Guam is no longer quiet, it's a battlefield. 2-6. The air battle shifts. The long-range missiles have done their damage, but not enough to end the threat. 4 H-20 survive the AMRAAM waves and plunge forward. Their formations ragged but determined. They know F-22 are close. Too close for comfort, far too close for another clean escape. The Raptors pivot into a new geometry, spreading just enough to cover multiple angles while keeping tight enough to support each other. Their radar picture fills with debris trails, burning fragments, and the approaching silhouettes of the remaining bombers. At this stage, everything happens fast. The commander calls for a push, close the gap, force the bombers into defensive turns, and break any chance they have of reaching launch range. The surviving H-20 try one last tactic. They dive a few thousand feet to compress the battle space, hoping to slip under the Raptors' clean engagement window. Their countermeasure pods spit out bursts of heat and noise, desperate attempts to confuse incoming weapons. But the F-22 adjust instantly, rolling into high G arcs that keep them on top of the bomber's movement. Then things get even harder. One H-20 manages to slip between 2 intercept vectors, flying low and straight, betting everything on speed. If it breaks free, even for a moment, it could get close enough to attempt a launch. Inside Anderson's command center, controllers watch the same chase unfold as shifting symbols on their screens, knowing that any track slipping past the merge might mean a hypersonic launch window they can't close again. The Raptors surge after it, no hesitation, no room for mistakes. A single bomber getting through could change the entire night. The pressure spikes inside every cockpit. Pilots grip their throttles, eyes locked on the shifting icons in front of them. This is no longer a long-range shootout, it's a knife-edge chase at high altitude, where one misstep means losing the advantage. As the formation compresses again, both sides commit fully. Bombers pushing for a final window, fighters forcing them back step by step. If you are watching this moment unfold, one H-20 breaking away while 8 Raptors close in, who do you think wins the race? Press 1 if the U.S. stops the breakout, or 9 if the bomber slips through. 2 hours, 6 minutes, and 50 seconds. Just as the Raptors close in for the final intercept, a new threat appears, small, fast, and unexpected. Sensors aboard the F-22 flag a sudden cluster of low-altitude contacts rising from beneath the main fight. At first, the signatures look like noise, but then their speeds spike. These aren't debris, they're drones. 4 stealthy, high-speed escort drones launched earlier from the H-20 have been hiding in the bomber formation's radar shadow. They're too small to spot easily and too fast to ignore. If even one gets inside the F-22 formation, it could force a defensive turn at the worst possible moment. The twist flips the fight. The Raptors shift from pure offense to a balancing act. Stop the bombers, neutralize the drones, and keep their formation tight enough not to lose mutual support. The commander calls for asset. 3. The short-range weapons and high-agility maneuvers meant for chaotic close-in fights. F-22 roll hard, engines screaming as they reposition to engage both threats at once. Meanwhile, the remaining H-20 seize the moment. They pitch up slightly, buying a sliver of altitude and time while the drones claw toward the Raptors. Every second the fighters spend managing the new threat is another second the bombers inch closer to their launch boundary. One drone darts directly toward a Raptor's nose, forcing the pilot into a brutal defensive snap turn. Another slips beneath the formation, climbing fast. The airspace compresses into a tangled, dangerous knot: stealth fighters, heavy bombers, and fast drones all converging in a 3-layered chase. This was never just a bomber intercept anymore. It has become a 3-front knife fight at high altitude, and whoever adapts fastest will own the next 60 seconds. 2 hours, 7 minutes, and 30 seconds. The sky erupts into a frantic, violent spiral. The Raptors tear through the escort drones, shredding 2 in bright orange flashes. The last pair scatter, losing cohesion, and the F-22 ignore them. They've already zeroed in on the real danger. The final H-20, forcing a battered, stubborn path toward launch range. Panels hang loose, one engine trails smoke, but the bomber refuses to break. The Raptors dive hard, cutting shockwaves through the thin upper air. Their sensors lock onto the bomber's overheating silhouette, every system strained to the limit. There's no room for long-range shots now. This is a close-quarters kill. The lead Raptor fires an AIM-9X. The missile lunges forward, snapping into a tight curve as it hunts heat. The H-20 spits its last flares in a blinding burst, flooding the sky with fire. The AIM-9X swallows the brightest decoy and explodes harmlessly. The second Raptor climbs sharply, lining up a perfect shot until the H-20 jerks upward in a desperate climb. The F-22 is forced to break off to avoid an overshoot. Its pilot is squeezing out every ounce of lift the wounded aircraft has left. Range, 3 miles. Inside Anderson's command center, the red line marking launch boundary inches closer to the bomber's track. If it crosses that radius, even for a second, a YJ-21 could leave the rails. A single missile would change everything. The third Raptor drops low, skimming rough air to slide beneath the bomber's belly. The firing lane opens narrow, perfect, final. The pilot squeezes the trigger. The M61A2 roars. A torrent of 20mm rounds rips upward, stitching through the H-20 underside. Sparks leap across the fuselage. One engine erupts, the bomber lurching violently as fire pours across its left wing. It tries to climb, fails. Then the airframe folds. The wings tear away, and the burning hull spirals into the clouds below. The Raptors reform, breathing hard as they confirm the last kill. In Anderson, shoulders drop, hands unclench. 16 bombers destroyed, no missiles launched. Guam stands. But the unease remains. One bomber got dangerously close. If the wave had been larger or backed by mainland launches, the outcome could have shifted instantly. So, here's the question of the night. After witnessing this final, brutal chase, who carries the momentum into the next round? Press 1 if the U.S. stays ahead, or 9 if China adapts and strikes back harder. Dawn rises over the Pacific as the last glow fades beneath the clouds. Anderson Air Force Base settles into a tense calm. 16 H-20s shot down, no missiles launched on paper. A clean victory. But no one feels safe. The danger wasn't what happened, but what almost did. Inside the command center, officers review the final chase frame by frame. One bomber slipped through nearly every layer of defense. One. If it had gained just a few more miles, Guam might have faced its first hypersonic strike. The near miss weighs heavier than a loss. Across the region, allies study the battle. Japan, South Korea, and Australia take reassurance in the F-22 performance and America's early warning advantages. But they also see the warning signs. China pushed a new bomber force farther than anyone predicted, revealing gaps that only show under real pressure. In Washington, planners begin revising scenarios. If 16 bombers nearly reached launch range, what happens when the next wave mixes drones, decoys, and long-range mainland strikes? Tonight proved Guam can survive the first blow but left enormous questions about the second. Meanwhile, Beijing extracts lessons from defeat. Each drone maneuver, every failed breakaway, every radar trace becomes data. Even a shattered raid can sharpen the next attempt. They now understand more about how U.S. air defenses react and how to force them into tighter, riskier fights. As sunlight climbs, the Raptors return home, heat-scorched and low on fuel. Ground crews move quietly, aware the battle felt less like a victory and more like the opening act of something larger. The Pacific seems heavier now, as if the whole region is bracing for what comes next. So before we move forward, after watching both sides push to their limits, who holds the momentum? Press 1 if you think the U.S. still dictates the fight, or 9 if you believe China will escalate in the next round.